with one of the people that I respect the most, one of the people that I like the most. So I feel very lucky that we get to start off this series with John Ramstead. John.
Hello, Amber. Thank you for having me here. I feel the same way about you. You are honestly the best. I'll never forget meeting you on the curb, waiting to pick up a bus to go to the rental car place with our good friend Larry Kay. But that's where we first met, out in New Jersey.
Yep, we started our journey in Philadelphia. Then we spent a lot of time in New Jersey together as we were both attending Heroic Public Speaking with Michael and Amy Port in the fall of 2019. And, you know, I'm excited for you guys to know John. For those of you who are coming on live, make a comment below. Let me know if you can hear us, you can see us, tell me who you are, where you're coming in from. Just want to kind of get a read on the room. And I'm really excited about these hot seats. If you don't know what a hot seat is, 30 minutes, once a week, every Tuesday, I'm going to be going live. And I'm going to have somebody from inside of the Leverage to Scale community join me. And they are putting me in the hot seat. Woo! It's hot over here. I've got John who's going first. And what that means is he's going to drill me. He's going to talk about the challenges in his business, the questions that are in the back of his mind plaguing him. And I am just going to give him the best that I've got, everything that I can think of in that moment that's going to serve him. And also, I'm thinking about you too. You're the one sitting there watching. I want you to get a lot of value out of this experience together. So John runs a company called Beyond Influence. John, I know what you do pretty well, and your model, your team. Why don't you take a minute or two and tell us, give us some context about what your company does, who you do it for, and how you're marketing, just kind of the general model that you're doing right now.
Sure. I was in the Navy as a fighter pilot, and then got out and had a 25-year career as an entrepreneur in technology and in finance. And it was 8 years ago, I had an accident that should have killed me, Amber, as you know, that put me in the hospital for 2 years. And as I recovered coming out of that, I couldn't work full-time anymore. I couldn't run the company that I was running prior. And as I really sat there and thought about the fact that I should be dead, I'm like, okay, what's that legacy that I would really like to leave had I had the choice? Because that's not really, I was kind of focused on myself and building my company. So our entire focus Beyond Influence comes from, I want to help other people have such a positive and powerful effect in the world that they are leading beyond their own influence. Like you,
I freaking love that, right?
I know, like you are, yeah, look at, like you are going to help us with our website and our presence and our marketing and everything that we're doing. And that's going to allow us to influence and touch other lives because of your influence on me. I mean, that is the definition, what you do. It's like leverage to scale, right? I want people to leverage their influence for good in the world. So that's our whole mission, is to equip and inspire others, leaders, to accomplish what's been inspired in them, give them the courage to do that. And we really have an approach to leadership that I think is unique, because everybody talks about the why, the what, and the how. And I can take your best stuff and apply it and not get a fraction of your results unless I work on the one missing thing that people don't talk about, and that is who we are as leaders. So that is a big focus of what we do, is help people become the best version of themselves, bring that out into their team, bring that out into their organization. And we've been able to work from small startups and nonprofits to some of the biggest Fortune 50 companies, including the US Air Force and the US Army have hired us. And the Air Force named us a preferred leadership trainer. So now we're taking all of that, Amber, and we have a book coming out. And we want to leverage all of that so we can scale up our business. Hey, see what I did there?
I do.
All in. All
Isn't
right.
he great? Isn't he like the best guest ever? Come on. Okay, so John, what the heck are you challenged with? So you have the book, you have this business. What he didn't say is he has this podcast that a lot of people are listening to and subscribing to. So what's plaguing you right now, man?
Well, here's what I'd like to start with. If I could share my screen.
Okay.
I would like to go through my webpage. Okay. So here's we have I have another website called Eternal Leadership. Everything we started, and this is because of my accident, everything was very, very faith-based. And so is our podcast called Eternal Leadership. When we got hired by the military, they said, hey, listen, we'd love to hire you, but we can't hire such an overt faith-based, company. And that's when, because I already had this in my mind, that's when we actually created Beyond Influence, because our business is growing not in like the Christian business leadership, more in the traditional world, and we're trying to be a positive influence there. So we tacked this up when we got our first contracts from the Air Force 3 years ago. I actually created it overnight, so I'd have this website. I used Divi and I put it together. And then
how many of you listening can relate to this, right? It's like we just got to get something up, and then maybe we go back and look at what can we do to improve it.
Yeah, she actually said, do you have another link? I said, yes, I do. I'll get that to you tomorrow. I actually pulled an all-nighter.
Wow.
And it was horrible. And then about a year ago, I paid a web developer to just make it a little gooder, right? And it's only, okay, but here's the thing is right now we are doing a lot of outbound marketing. You can see the tabs here. I do a lot of executive coaching, right, to leaders.
Yep.
We do a lot of training, workshops, and the whole library is behind that tab. And I'm doing more and more speaking. So what we are doing now with our social media strategy, email strategy, outbound marketing strategy is actually driving traffic to this site. I do not think that this is a site that creates engagement or converts. So here's what I'd love to do is have you maybe walk through this, because everybody listening too, and just give some feedback on what are the best practices. And by the way, we've already just, so your audience knows, we've already told Amber we want to hire her to come in. So this is like the before look. You can almost give us a preview of what you think we need to do to transform this into something that's going to be really a great tool for our company.
Awesome. I'm going to need to take control back of the screen here. When you were talking, I got inspired and pulled up some other links here. So classic, right? Your website is not bad. Okay. I've seen way worse than this, but I will say that it is not experiential. Meaning when I go to your website, I don't get to experience you and John and all of your uniqueness, your leadership. People love you. You're like a freaking magnet. And so there's not a lot of that in this website. And this website is bigger than you. So I'm not saying that you need your photo and videos everywhere, but we do need to experience the organization, experience your values, experience what you do, and what that's going to mean to me. Now you have an interesting, you have a really interesting website here too, because you essentially have two different audiences. You have business owners coming in that might need coaching, or you have a membership program or something else that you're going to do with them. Those are the people that are really listening to your podcast. But then you also have government contracts, and you have those people coming in looking at you too. And so all of this really can be accomplished really well within the website. And here are a few things that we can do as takeaways. Then if you have any follow-up questions, or you want to move on to a different question, that's up to you. I'm the one in the hot seat. I feel
perfect. Yeah, no, this is great.
So here with your website, there's an opportunity. This is a really new thing. I would say newer thing that's happening online. The vast majority of people still are not doing this. But when somebody lands on your website, the fastest way to get them to experience you and the speed or flow or pacing, the feeling of your organization is actually by having a background video. This is like a 15-second video. There's no sound. And again, it's just going to give you that feeling. So if you were to
like I saw you do on Tsuyo's website.
Exactly. I can absolutely bring that up. I bring this one up first to show not about me, but this video in the background is very fast paced. There's a lot of movement, lots going on. You're zooming, it's flipping around. I'm showing you my screen. I'm talking on like a webcam. You see me on stage at multiple different events. There's a lot going on, but that gives you a sense of Amber's pacing, my energy, my values, and you get to experience that up front. different example here is of Stephen Drum, which I was going to bring up this website, John, because if you are pursuing your speaking, it might be worth it for you to have a one-page speaker site that's all about John and his speaking that is linked to your Beyond Influence site, but maybe isn't necessarily included within Beyond Influence, because you might find yourself speaking in different organizations as a side step to Beyond Influence as opposed to a direct step. You brought up Natsuyo's website here. Let's actually, what is
that's her old one, so people can see the before and after. Well, oh yeah, that's right. She has this is in Japanese.
I know. Of course I would do this. I can't remember what her domain name is. Anyway, we'll move on for the sake of speed. But I'm going to give you, I'll put it in the chat comment. Sorry about that, Natsuyo. It is a beautiful site. But I also want to bring up Indrani really quick, because with Indrani, you can get a sense of her video background, very different than mine. Her pacing is much slower. She's much more methodical, intentional. You see, she's speaking on big, big, big stages. That's her business, right? So anyway, John, I think that having a video background for you is going to be very experiential right off the bat. I'm going to get a sense of you, your organization. I could envision seeing you giving a leadership training. You're recording a podcast, you're doing a video, you're talking with your team. You know, it could be multiple different snippets. That would be really cool.
Okay, so practical question.
Yeah.
Should we just go around like with an iPhone 11 and record a whole bunch of B-roll?
Yes.
Like me sitting here doing this.
Yes.
Have the team meeting, which we do right
yes.
on the other side of this wall.
Yes.
I even have what are those? The thing that's on the gimbal, you know, so we could
absolutely
have the whole team there. Okay, so we need to record a bunch of B-roll.
Yeah.
I have film of me on big stages. I have film of me at HPS.
Yep.
And then we can just weave some of those together.
Pull it all together. And
your team will pull that together. I just need to create
super fast.
Okay.
So this is just, I'm showing you some other examples as we're talking, but can you already see the difference between that style and this? Even if your video background were this plane taking off, like that would be a different kind of experience. If you can follow up that experience, John, with a personal video from you, that's going to be the next step. That's really, really important. So on our NGNG website, you see a very different kind of video background, because my website agency, it's not about me, it's about the clients we serve. So it's a very different website, which is why you might have a one-page speaker page that's all about you versus Beyond Influence is about the company. But regardless, if you scroll down, you see that there's space to breathe, because we need to build this website for your end visitor, the new people coming in. And we want them to know really obviously upfront what you do, and then ideally see a video of you telling them what you do, because that video is going to create clarity. It's going to build up that know, like, and trust factor very, very quickly, especially with you at the helm. And then it's going to help direct your users as to what you want them to do next. For you, you might say, go to my coaching or training tab, depending on if you're this client or this client. And, you know, I'll see you there. So it's less about saying, here's the 52 options that you have, because that can be overwhelming. But you're directing people to the one or two things you want them to do next, which usually has to do with your main monetization offering, the main thing that you want, more clients, let's say. Because if they don't do that, they're not ready for that, they can navigate the site themselves and see your podcast and speaking and everything else. But I feel like if you create more experience, create more personal connection with the video, and then do some design updates, because this design is just, it's aging a little bit. I think it's going to be a game changer for you, John. I really do.
I think so too. Okay. Question that kind of experience video. Do you have a script that we can follow? First question. Second question is my office is a bit busy, right? So maybe it's not. What would be the best place to shoot that video, the background. Like you have a really nice background set up in your office, right? That's very clean.
But you could also argue it's very busy. Look at all the colors, the different angles of this. There's stuff all over the place, right? The reason that I chose this background though, John, is that I wanted something that really spoke to how I feel inside. Because again, everything I do is to create personal connection with people, because that is what's going to make the difference in your marketing, your sales, your operations. It's the connection we make with the individual. So the individual watching my video, right? And so in order to create personal connection with a total stranger that you're not actually talking to, is to be fully yourself and be fully open, which is why, and some people might argue against this, but I actually don't script my opening video. I know what I generally want to talk about, who I am, what I do, who I do it for, how I do it, and the one thing I want you to do next. But other than that, you get real and raw, Amber, because that's what's going to make a connection. And this background is going to help make the connection too, because that influences you. So John, what I'm seeing about your background right now is that, yeah, there's a lot going on, but it actually tells me a lot about who you are and the level of stature that you have. It actually lends to your credibility, and therefore you might want to continue to keep it. Or you might just decide that you show your video background to 5 people that you love working with and you would love to replicate those clients, and ask them, what do you think of my background? Is it distracting? Is it busy? Do you like it? Do you care at all?
Well, I love it because everything back there has a personal connection to me or another person or a story. And just me looking at it actually gives me energy. So based on what you said, I'm just going to leave it because it is who I am. And if somebody goes, well, I don't like that, well, then you know what? They probably aren't, maybe not a good fit for working with me anyway. I don't need to create this whole persona just to connect to somebody.
Exactly. The only thing I would say is zoom in just a bit more on you, because you're kind of small in comparison to the rest. And even arguably, I'm a little small. Sometimes my video camera, when I'm recording like my YouTube videos, I'll get a little bit closer, because that's a sign that I'm not hiding anything. I'm not afraid, right?
Yeah, we can do that. We can actually.
So just think about that too. Yeah. But ultimately, that's it. If you need to script, if that's easier for you, do you.
I love to do
scripted.
Yeah, well, I love to do kind of more improv, but I think if I actually, like you said, who I am, what I do, why I do it, what you would get working with me. If I kind of have the categories, and then I'll just kind of do it off the cuff 2, 3, 4 times until I feel like, well, that felt really good.
Exactly.
And then we'll go from there. Okay, next. Okay, so we're going to work on that. We need to get engaged, get this stuff done.
How's your wife going to feel about that, John? Get engaged so soon? I had to, right? Come on. Yes, it was like the viewers were like waiting for it. Hey guys, while I'm at it, comment below. Let me know the #1 takeaway you got out of this first segment. Okay, John, we've got about 5 or so minutes left. Hit me with what else is on your mind.
Okay, rapid fire. I want you to just off top of your head, let it riff. Okay. My book is coming out in about 4 months. It just is finishing up editing. It's about to go into the publishing process. It's going to be through Morgan James, which is a hybrid. We're very familiar with them, right? What do we need to be doing right now as we're upgrading our website to have a successful book launch? I'm thinking social media strategy on the web, landing. I don't know. Just let it rip. Just rapid fire. And I'm just going to write down your stream of consciousness.
I would first be taking a look at the overall platform and making any enhancements to make sure that I am showing myself to the world the way that I really want to be seen, and it's all up to date. So good.
When you say platform, you're talking about the web?
Thank you.
I mean our website?
Social media. Yeah.
LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, everything actually probably needs to have a look.
Yep. First thing I do when I'm working with a book launch client, I always do a full audit of their platform first. And I say, this is what we need to elevate to get you ready for the book launch. Because if you're not ready for that amount of attention, and then you get the attention and then it squanders, oh man. So we got to fix the platform first.
Okay, when you say elevate, right? What elements are things that you typically see that you have to elevate? Because I'm not
Well,
sure
like we
exactly
just
what you
talked
mean.
about how to elevate the website, right? That's a
Right?
really good example. Social media is like making sure that we're posting on a good regular basis, that we're posting the right types of content, which we can talk about more in a minute, but I just want to give you the overview too.
Okay.
But we have to make sure that you are representing yourself the way that you want to be represented moving forward into the launch. So that's the first month is probably going to be buttoning up all of that stuff, getting systems in place. So I know that you've got a girl that's taking over your social media. She's already doubled engagement. That's amazing. So you're on the right track there. The second thing that I go all in on is my relationships. Start by and I'll just remind you this is being recorded because I'm going to go fast.
Yep.
Start by, if you haven't already, document every single relationship that you have. And I rank them by hot, meaning like, oh, of course this person's going to promote for me, like Amber would.
Like a launch team. Like these people would say, yes, I'm all in helping you get the word out there for your book. Yep.
Yeah. Warm is like, well, they might, but I'd have to ask them and maybe convince them a little. And cold is like, man, haven't talked to them in a while, need to, not sure if they're going to do it, probably not. So now I'm ranking them. Then I go out and ask them for their support. And then I continue to nurture those relationships and remind them, give them sample marketing materials. There's a specific process leading up into the actual launch. And I have to do a very fast, shameless promotion for authoruplive.com, which is March 23rd and 24th, because during this event, live with Amber, myself, AJ, Mike Michalowicz, we are giving you step by step what emails to send to influencers, how to document it, how to nurture them. We give you the entire marketing and launch plan that we designed for Mike Michalowicz's launch, which is April 28th. So, John, I know you and I have already spoken about this, had to share that with the people also watching.
Yeah.
Influencers, the people that are going to help you promote, are the biggest way you're going to push the most books. So if your platform is ready, you've got lots of people helping you. If you can aim over 50 people who have committed to helping you, I know you could scale beyond that even, which means you're just going to be more successful. Then you at least know, okay, I've got the most important things ready. Then the next thing that I usually do when working with clients is we look at how to monetize the launch, because the book in and of itself is not your money maker. It's an important step to being seen as a credible authority in your industry, getting more speaking engagements, getting people to see that you actually have a methodology. So you're not just a fly by night person, but you're actually here to instill real lasting change and transformation, right? So what happens beyond the book launch so that you can recoup the cost of writing the book and really start to grow profits in the company that you can then reinvest back into scaling, right?
That is the goal.
We're always looking at what's the next step that a reader takes. They buy your book, then what are they going to buy into next? And after that, what do they buy into next? And as long as you're getting really clear on that journey, you'll be in a good place. And
question for you then. So as the book is coming out and we're getting the book in people's hands, do you recommend at the end of the book putting 1 or 2 pages in there about the other things that we do, speaking, coaching, training? How do you use the book to almost create an engagement or call to action? Let's say somebody grabs it out of the bookshelf, or their friend says, you need to read this. Any thoughts on that?
That is a huge question.
Yeah.
It
just popped into my head as you were talking.
20-minute video just on that.
Okay.
But I would say it really just depends.
Okay.
I actually just got off the phone with my writing partner. I'm writing a book right now with somebody, and I made the conscious choice that I'm not going to litter my book with, buy this, do that, go to my website, opt in for this template, because that's not the tone I want to set for my book.
See, I don't have any of that in the book now. I was just, I'm the same way. I don't like books where you constantly have to go to their website. I'm like, put it in the book. It's why I bought a book.
Yeah. So I do think there's value in adding something in the end. And I feel like this is the best question probably for Morgan James, like asking them, what have authors done in the past that was successful? Do you have anything that I can model or look at?
Okay.
And I also think that this is a good question for AJ Harper too. So I'd like to pick her brain about it.
Yeah.
But yes, we definitely want to make sure that there's a natural progression and that people do understand that. But also know too, John, that you're going to be talking about your work in the book anyway. So they should already get a sense that you do these other things without having to see it at the back of the book. But
Sure.
it is still a good idea to put things, whether it's in the back cover copy, like on the inner fold, that's like a bio that talks about the things that you do versus a full page spread, like almost like an advertisement. There are different options that you have.
Okay, so here's what I'd like to do. We have 3 minutes left. I want you to take the next 90 seconds.
We have
And then
about
we'll,
1 minute left.
okay, 1 minute left. So take 30 seconds. I would like your input real quick. You talked about social media, posting regularly. What kind of content and how often? Quick thoughts.
For me, 3
No,
times a day usually is what I
so
recommend.
how about for me? I mean, like, you're fast.
Meaning for me, what I recommend for others is about 3 times a day.
Okay.
You're doing a mix of what I call foundational conversational content that is designed to create conversation and engagement. Like, hey, I have a question about blah, blah, blah. And you're just posting questions, you're posting tips and getting opinions, you're doing polls, anything to try to foundationally conversate with the people in your following. On top of that, you need to layer in story, as many stories as you can that are relevant. Your own stories of clients, experiential stories about where you are in the world and a wisdom that just came in or something you want your children to know or a love note to your wife, right? So stories really matter and create personal connection. On top of that, I bake in offers. So free offers, paid offers, very direct, telling people how they can take action with me and what I want them to ultimately do as a result of having this relationship. And then you can back up those offers with like testimonials or proof. Like I was just featured on Inc. magazine, and proof of your credibility. Documenting your book journey is a really important thing that you should be regularly talking about on social media.
Yeah,
So
I haven't done
since
that
there
at
are
all.
all of these things that you should be talking about on social media, and we're ending on this note, it's best to put it into a structure that makes it faster, far more efficient than you can even imagine to get the work done without sacrificing quality. And that is exactly what Leverage to Scale does. I built that system to train your virtual assistant how to do it 3 times a day with stories and polls and all this stuff. But she's only going to be spending like 3 hours a week doing it because of the process and the system in place. So that's something that you viewers could take a look at, but ultimately that's my answer on what we should be posting. And I hate that we don't have more time because John and I, every time we have a conversation, we could just keep going like 3x the amount of time that we ever have. But
Yes,
John,
that's
I
true.
thought those were excellent questions. I'm sure people got a lot of value out of it. What was the number one thing that you got out of it before we let you go? Or just one thing?
Oh, I think 2 things. I think I'm really excited. Just what you showed me with the video. I mean, the homepage, just getting people to actually experience kind of me and our message, even in the background, I think is really exciting and getting things cleaned up. And I think the other big takeaway, 3 times a day, uh, these little ideas, creating the launch team, already starting to reach out now 4 months ahead to find those 50 people. So I have a lot of things to go put in place that I'm actually really excited about. And it's been super helpful, and you are awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I had a lot of fun. For those of you that are watching the replay, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel to sign up and get notified when other replays like this are available. If you haven't already joined the Leverage to Scale group, you're nuts. Join it. Maybe you could be on the hot seat with me next. And we are going to hop off right now for 1 minute and then bring on our next hot seat participant, Howie Cross. So stay